Over the years, we've been fortunate enough to feature many veterans taking part in special honor flights at Falcon Field in Mesa, all thanks to the nonprofit Grounded No More.
And they just completed another season, but this time they're moving on without their vintage World War II era plane, which has meant so much to many. Grounded No More has been honoring veterans for nearly a decade.
Thanks for your service.
Well, thank you all for being here.
Sergeant Big Bob Richmond.
Each veteran given a free ride in the friendly skies aboard Amazing Grace.
All right, let's get you flying.
Well, Amazing Grace is a 1943 Fairchild PT-26.
She was originally used to train British pilots in Canada during World War II. For some veterans, it's more than a vintage plane.
I flew in one of these planes just 80 years ago.
Overwhelming, to say the least.
How old do you feel?
39.
While it's a trip down memory lane for some, for others, flying with Amazing Grace was more than a joyride.
It was peaceful. You could kind of let go of some things. When I went up in Amazing Grace, it seemed like for that time period, I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't in my thoughts.
You know, guys that wouldn't talk about anything. We had one lady called us up 2 years ago, and she says, I've found more stuff out about my husband in the last year than I have in 38 years we've been married. That whatever you guys did, it just opened him up.
I feel like I'd like to do it more often.
Unfortunately, 680 veteran flights later, Amazing Grace has been retired.
They had a metal shortage in World War II, so they made this airplane primarily out of wood, which unfortunately is why we've had to retire it. It had a couple of separations in the wood, and the cost to get it repaired is probably twice what the airplane is worth.
Owner and pilot Tony Anger says the nonprofit Grounded No More will still go on the honor flights, just with another vintage plane. Like the veterans she served, Amazing Grace will never be forgotten.
And bring back those memories, I think.
I just want to say God bless you for your courage, your sacrifice, and your service.
And Amazing Grace will be going to the Commemorative Air Force, where volunteers there can restore her. And 12 News wants to share the stories and photographs of those veterans who are closest to you. To submit your Those Who Serve stories and photos to be featured, just go to 12news.com/thosewhoserve.
Gorgeous.